Good afternoon. How are you all? I just finished a delightful meeting with the President where we talked about lots of things involving the District of Columbia. First and foremost, we talked about our respective commitment to improving public education in the city and across the nation. I was able to talk to him about the vision that we have for a birth through 24 continuum and how we are especially focusing on early childhood education in the city. I indicated that I had met with Secretary Arne Duncan just last week and talked to him about education issues, obviously, and the President underscored his support for improvements in public education and looks forward to working with us in the city to continue to improve our public education efforts. I specifically talked to him about early childhood education and infant and toddler programs, and I'm going to look forward to working with him and working with the Department of Education for additional support for our infant and toddler programs, which we know those investments will pay off down the road in having children who are much better prepared for school. As many of you know, we've done a lot of work in pre-kindergarten. We now have a universal pre-kindergarten program in the city, and we want to build on that by intervening even earlier with our young people. In addition to that, we talked about the support or the opportunities that would be created out of Homeland Security coming to the St. Elizabeth's campus. The President underscored his support for it and recognizes it, as I do, as a real opportunity to improve the quality of life in Ward 8 of the city. The last thing we want to have is just another enclave, a government enclave in Southeast Washington as we've had in the past. So this will be an opportunity to invest in infrastructure. We've asked for dollars to support the infrastructure development on the east side of the campus, where the FEMA building will be constructed. That will give us an opportunity then to create the kinds of amenities that will not only support the people who work there, but also the people who live in Ward 8. And then we talked also about the level of unemployment in the city and assistance that can be provided by the President and his Department of Labor to begin to chip away at the skill levels that need to be developed for people in the city. We have huge unemployment levels. Ward 7, 19%, Ward 8, north of 30%. Something he's very concerned about, as am I, and we look forward to working with the White House to address that through the Department of Labor. One of the most important things to me was the President really wants to work closely with our city, and we're going to, in the days and weeks ahead, after I'm sworn in, we're going to work very closely together to bring as much of a presence to our issues in the District of Columbia as we possibly can. So I think it was a great meeting, even better than I could have hoped for, and I look forward to working with the President and those who are connected with the White House in the days ahead.
Mr. Mayor-elect,
did the President agree to come visit the Wilson Building?
We are continuing to discuss that. We hope that will happen. We know there's been no sitting president who's come to the Wilson Building before. We're going to continue to work on the details of that.
Mr. Mayor-elect, did you, the license plate, Bill Clinton put the license plate on. It's on your car, taxation without representation. George Bush took it off. You have sent him a letter. The Democratic State Committee has sent him a letter. It's just not an esoteric matter. It's a matter of solidarity and showing that he is really actually for it. Did you personally ask him to put the taxation with representation plate on his limousine, and what did he say if you did ask him?
The first thing that I asked the President was to once again reinforce his support for self-determination and voting rights in the District
How about
of Columbia.
statehood?
And he was unequivocal in his support. We didn't specifically talk about statehood.
The word statehood was never mentioned.
No, we didn't talk about statehood. But he said, I'm unequivocally a supporter of voting rights for the District of Columbia, and I continue to be one. I talked to him about the license plates, and he didn't come to a decision on what to do with that. I think that's something that he will discuss further internally.
I must ask, how do you feel about that? It is a question of, it would have been a boon, a lift. It would have been an achievement out of this lunch. why do you think there's the hesitancy? Did he
Well, I don't
describe-
know. I think that's something that he would have to answer. I don't even know if it was hesitancy. We talked about a lot of issues, Mark. We talked about training for our people here. We talked about education. We talked about the catalytic effect in terms of economic development in Southeast Washington, and we did it all in a relatively short period of time. So there will be a lot of follow-up to this meeting, and I think that's one of the take-homes to me, and that is the fact that this was not an episodic meeting. This will be a relationship that has been established. There will be many meetings in the aftermath of this, and I think it's a great accomplishment for the city at this point.
Mr. Mayor-elect, Mr. Mayor-elect,
Go ahead, Tim.
DC vote today asked you to ask him to pledge to veto any bill that seeks to undo local laws such as medical marijuana, same-sex marriage, or anything
We
that the
didn't,
community...
we didn't get to that discussion, Tim. We'll follow up with that. Again,
What's next,
please
Mr.
remember there will be other meetings in the aftermath of this.
So
I'll
last
take one more
question.
question, Tom.
Did he commit personally to doing anything particularly on it? He goes to our restaurants, he goes to events, but did he commit to come anywhere into the city or do anything?
He
Appear with you somewhere?
indicated to me, he said, I want to do more in the city. And he says, I want to do more for the city. That's why, in talking about education, and talking about job training, and talking about economic development, it was very clear to me that he's committed to these issues and will work with us in the weeks ahead to crystallize what that means.